When did your spiritual advisor drain your joint account while stuck on a road trip? YTA for absolutely losing my mind and almost wrecking our beat-up Toyota Corolla because my co-parent and his spiritual advisor drained our joint account while we were literally stuck together on the road. I don't even know where to start with this dumpster fire, honestly. I'm Larry Ahmed, 58M, and I'm currently typing this out on my cracked screen iPhone 14, hiding in a filthy roadside motel bathroom, listening to Oliver snore through the thin wall. It's 3:17 a.m. I haven't slept properly since Tuesday at 11:47 a.m. when I decided to check our finances during a miserable pit stop at a crowded rest area outside of Flagstaff. Context: I am a recovering perfectionist. Emphasis on recovering. My default setting is stress and plan. My whole life is spreadsheets and contingencies. Oliver Brooks, 76M, is the ambitious upstart, except he's 70-freaking-6 and his ambition now seems to involve chasing dubious business ventures and calling himself a spiritual capitalist. Matthew MacLeod, 50M, is the third leg of this nightmare, the guy who I reluctantly agreed to co-parent with our term for dealing with shared assets post-split, specifically the rental properties we invested in together years ago. Matt is the strict parent type, rigid, fiscally conservative, and generally the last person I'd ever expect to be involved in financial shenanigans. We are, for reasons too convoluted to explain right now, on a mandated road trip of shared responsibility. We needed to physically inspect two properties, one near Albuquerque and one way up in Oregon, and we decided read. Matt insisted it would be cheaper if all three of us drove the 2018 Honda Civic. Well, the Civic broke down right before we left, so we ended up in Oliver's beat-up Toyota Corolla, which smells vaguely of old French fries and desperation. The road trip was hell from the jump. Oliver, who is 76 but acts 26, immediately started arguing with Matt, 50M, over the driving playlist. Matt wanted NPR, Oliver wanted motivational TikTok gurus talking about abundance. I just wanted quiet. NGL, I was already counting the PTO hours I burned for this insanity. The major complication leading up to Tuesday was Oliver's new friend, who he keeps calling his advisor, a guy named Zane. Zane is basically a charismatic 20-something who told Oliver he had the energy of a future billionaire and could unlock his ultimate potential through a $5,000 online course. Oliver, bless his heart, is the kind of person who believes this stuff wholeheartedly. He's always been an upstart, but now he's a delusional upstart. Matt and I have tried to intervene, but Oliver just accuses us of suppressing his vibrational frequency. I know, it sounds ridiculous. Anyway, we pulled into a rest stop on Tuesday at 11:47 a.m. Oliver and Matt were in the middle of a screaming match about whether the $43.67 grocery bill from Trader Joe's should be split three ways, or if Oliver should pay more because he ate all the Talenti gelato. Petty, I know, but that's our dynamic. I needed to transfer $1,247 for my portion of next month's apartment 3B rent. I still haven't officially moved out of the place I used to share with Matt, which is a whole other disaster, and I opened the banking app. We have this joint operational account, right? It was set up years ago specifically for property taxes, maintenance, and the shared utilities we still use while we finalize the dissolution of our shared assets. It normally holds a decent cushion, usually hovering around $15,000 to cover unexpected repairs like the $85 plumber charge last month. I logged in, pulled up the balance, and my hands started shaking so badly I almost dropped the iPhone 14. The balance was $347.01. $300.47.01. My stomach dropped to the floor. I literally felt dizzy. I stared at the numbers thinking this can't be real. I'm dreaming, right? I swiped down expecting the app to refresh and show the proper 5-figure balance. It didn't. I zoomed in on the transactions. The recent activity looked like a fever dream. There were 3 separate Zelle transactions, each exactly $5,000, all labeled Zane V Consulting Ultimate Potential Seminar. Total $15,000. I felt the blood drain from my face. My heart was racing so hard I thought I might need one of Matt's blood pressure meds. I scrolled down looking for any sign of a hack or fraud alert. Then I saw a string of weird little transactions. Cash App $200, Venmo request paid $43, Chipotle, ATM withdrawal $200, Amazon $347.88, labeled business supplies essential. The math wasn't mathing. $15,000 plus these other expenses meant the account was completely cleaned out. I couldn't breathe. I walked straight out of the car, leaving Matt and Oliver mid-argument about the gelato, and stumbled over to the gross concrete divider near the semi-truck parking. I called Matt MacLeod, 50M, first. He's the financially responsible one, the strict parent, the guy who lectures me if I spend $6 on a Starbucks latte. He was still sitting in the passenger seat of the Corolla when I called, and I could hear Oliver rambling about cryptocurrency in the background. Matt, you need to look at the joint account. Now, I said, my voice completely flat. What, Larry? I'm trying to explain to Oliver that Bitcoin isn't a viable retirement option. Matt sighed, clearly annoyed. Did you forget to pay the $347 electric bill? No, I said, look at the account. The balance is $347. The account is drained. $15,000 is gone. 3 payments to Zane V Consulting. There was silence on the line, then a sharp, choked noise. Larry, stop being dramatic. You're remembering it wrong. Did you check the wrong account? You're too stressed, Matt said, his voice rising, a classic gaslighting move, but one he usually saves for when he's denying forgetting to put the garbage out. No, I am looking at the account. I need the money for rent, Matt. $1,247 is due in 3 days. Did you authorize the transfers? Did Oliver finally lose his mind and use the shared debit card? No, I would never. Matt sounded genuinely panicked now. I check that account daily. It was fine yesterday morning. I swear I saw $15,347 in there yesterday. Oliver, did you touch the money? I heard Oliver 76M respond in the background loud enough for my phone mic to pick up. I am manifesting abundance, Matthew. We have to invest in our future. Zane said these were crucial seed funds. I was just being proactive. I hung up the phone. I didn't want to hear Oliver's explanation. I saw red. The physical rage was immediate and overwhelming. My hands weren't just shaking now, they were trembling violently. I wanted to key Oliver's beat-up Toyota Corolla, but I restrained myself because ironically it'd be stuck in it with them. I walked back to the car. I yanked open the driver's side door where Oliver was still seated, holding his Samsung Galaxy, probably checking his stock in whatever ridiculous company Zane told him to invest in. Oliver, where is the $15,000? I demanded, not yelling but speaking in a low, terrifying voice that usually means I'm about 2 seconds from snapping. Recovering perfectionist Larry tends to implode quietly before exploding. Oliver flinched. Oh, Lar, I was just about to tell you, my dear boy. Zane has presented us with a magnificent opportunity. It's an investment in a paradigm shift. Matt, stop glaring. We needed liquid capital. Liquid capital? Oliver, that was our emergency maintenance fund. That was the money for the new HVAC unit on the Portland property. That was my rent money. Don't worry about the rent, Larry. Oliver waved a dismissive hand. Zane said that when you focus on abundance, the money always materializes. We just need faith. I don't need faith, Oliver. I need $1,247 by Friday. Matt was scrambling out of the passenger seat, his face pale. Oliver, you used the debit card. We agreed to Zelle payments only for major expenses. Zane needed it quickly. He's a very busy man, Matt. He's helping billionaires. I looked at Matt. Did you give him the PIN? Matt stammered. What are you saying? I never gave him the PIN, Oliver intercepted. Ah, well, I had the card, of course. Matt gave me the PIN last year when we needed to pay for the landscaping. Remember, you said, Ollie, it's just the last 4 digits of my old phone number, but don't tell Larry. My jaw literally dropped like cartoon character jaw drop. You thought wrong, Matt. You gave HIM access to the joint account. After all I've done for you maintaining those properties for 5 years, you let him use our shared funds for a paradigm shift. I felt tears prickling my eyes, but it wasn't sadness, it was pure, unadulterated rage. I hate crying in public. I hate crying anywhere. I was wearing a slightly stained gray t-shirt and my stress acne was flaring up, and I knew I looked ridiculous, but I didn't care. I didn't think he'd take all of it. I thought he was just using it for gas money, maybe a $200 withdrawal, Matt pleaded, running his hands through his thinning hair. I swear, Larry, I am shocked too. Oliver jumped in, trying to mediate in the most infuriating way possible. Now, boys, don't argue. This is exactly the scarcity mindset Zane warned me about. We need to focus on the positive outcome. The positive outcome is that I am currently stranded 1,000 miles from home with 2 financial criminals and no way to pay my rent. I screamed. I was done, just done. I grabbed my duffel bag from the back seat, which contained my laptop, 3 changes of clothes, and a Costco tub of trail mix I hadn't touched. I'm done with this road trip. I'm done with the properties. I'm done with both of you. You handle the Portland inspection, Matt. You focus on abundance, Oliver. I'm going home. Larry, you can't, Matt cried, grabbing my arm. The rental car is in my name. The Civic is broken down. How are you going to get back? We have to stick to the plan. Parallel parenting requires teamwork. I will figure it out, I snapped, pulling away. I'll take a Greyhound. I'll walk. I'll get a ride share back to civilization and rent my own car. But I am not spending another minute in this beat-up Toyota Corolla watching you 2 bankrupt us with self-help scams. I walked away from the rest stop, leaving them arguing by the car. Matt texted me immediately. 27 calls in the next hour, all ignored. He texted, Larry, please answer me. I'm serious. We need you to drive this leg. I texted back, no. He texted, I am not kidding you. Oliver is trying to Venmo Zane more money right now. I stopped walking and typed, block the account. Now, if there is one more $200 withdrawal, I am calling the police. I am not OVRACTNG. I spent the rest of Tuesday night and most of Wednesday sitting in a grim bus station staring at my bank app like a horror movie. I booked a flight out of Albuquerque for Thursday morning. I used my personal credit card, which now has an extra $347 bill on it thanks to the emergency purchase, but whatever. Better than being stuck. Fast forward to last night, Wednesday night. I had just checked into this terrible motel near the Albuquerque airport. I was stress eating leftover Chipotle, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out how to cover that $1,247 rent payment without completely annihilating my savings. I had blocked Matt and Oliver on everything except basic SMS just in case of an emergency. Then around 11:30 p.m. I got a text from Matt. Larry, did you look at Reddit? I replied, no. Why did you finally figure out how to stop Oliver from spending the rest of our collective pennies? Matt replied, just check r/am I the asshole, sort by new. Under the title AITA for telling my co-parent his spiritual advisor is a grifter and demanding we adopt parallel parenting to protect our assets. I put the cold Chipotle bowl down. That title sounded eerily familiar. I pulled up Reddit. Sure enough, there was a post from about 3 hours ago already blowing up with hundreds of comments. The username was Responsible Adult 50M. I clicked it. It was Matt MacLeod 50M. He had posted a highly detailed, extremely self-pitying account of the road trip, the properties, the history of our relationship, and crucially the whole Oliver/Zane debacle. He introduced Oliver 76M as Ollie, my extremely volatile, elderly but surprisingly wealthy co-investor who is suffering from delusion brought on by late-life ambition. Then he introduced me. He described Larry Ahmed, 58M, as L, the recovering perfectionist who runs everything by spreadsheet and refuses to understand that sometimes you just have to trust your intuition. L is currently overreacting to a minor liquidity crisis by ditching us in the desert and threatening legal action over a shared $1,247 rent payment, which is frankly immature for a 58-year-old. I was livid. He threw me under the bus. I read through the comments, my face burning. NTA, you need to protect the elderly man from himself. L sounds like a control freak though. ESH, Ali is ridiculous, but L is totally overreacting. 15K is nothing to lose sleep over if the properties are profitable. Easy for them to say, they aren't the ones losing their rent money. YTA to L, you can't just abandon a business trip. That's highly unprofessional. And what is parallel parenting in this context? Sounds like corporate jargon BS. The sheer audacity of Matt to frame me as the problem. I was so angry my stomach started hurting and I had to physically press my hands to my eyes to stop myself from reading more. I started furiously typing a rebuttal, an absolute novel explaining that Matt was an enabler who gave the pin away, and that he was only calling me a control freak because he couldn't control the situation anymore. But before I could post, my phone buzzed with an incoming call. It was Oliver. I usually ignore Oliver's calls, but something in my gut told me to pick up. Larry, thank heavens, Oliver sounded frantic. What is it, Oliver? Did you try to cash another check? I asked, completely exhausted. No, worse, Zane called me. He said that he saw Matt's Reddit post and he recognized the details, the road trip, the ages, everything. He said that Matt's description of his ultimate potential seminar constitutes defamation and he's going to sue us. Not just Matt, but all parties involved since it's a shared business investment. I took a deep breath. Oliver, Zane isn't suing anyone. He's a scam artist. He wants money. He's trying to scare you into paying him more. No, Larry, he means it, and that's not the worst part. Oliver's voice dropped to a terrified whisper. He said that if Matt doesn't delete the post and issue a public apology retracting the grifter comment immediately, Zane is going to release the evidence. Evidence of what, Oliver? Of the other account, Oliver stammered. The one Matt and I set up last year, the one we didn't tell you about. We put $5,000 in there to invest in something Matt swore was a sure thing, a small crypto mining operation. It was Matt's idea, Larry, and Zane found out about it. He said if we don't pay him off, he's going to post all the details on Reddit too under the title. AITA for hiding a secret joint account from my extremely paranoid co-parent who thinks everything must be logged on a spreadsheet. My chest went tight. I sat down abruptly on the edge of the motel tub. You and Matt have a secret joint account? Oliver, you're 76. Matt, you're 50. Are you telling me that while I was meticulously managing the properties, paying the $85 plumber charges, tracking the utility bills, and stressing about our shared security deposit, you two were running a secret slush fund to invest in crypto? Oliver was sobbing now. Larry, please, you have to talk to Matt. You have to save us. Zane is threatening to expose everything. Matt told me the crypto investment went belly up 6 months ago, and he never told you, and he never told me we lost the $5,000, and now Zane knows, and I think Matt is going to lose it. I hung up. I physically couldn't speak. My entire world, built on careful planning and the belief that at least one of these two men was fiscally sound, had just dissolved into a mess of fraudulent seminars and secret crypto accounts. I felt betrayed not just by Oliver, but by Matt, the strict parent, the one who always insisted on transparency and structure. I looked at the bathroom mirror. My eyes were swollen, my hair was a mess. I looked exactly like what Matt had called me on Reddit, the controlling, overly sensitive 58-year-old co-parent who couldn't handle a minor liquidity crisis. I grabbed my laptop, pulled up Reddit again, and found Matt's original post. I saw that he had just updated the post with an edit, clearly written in a panic. Responsible adult 50M edit. Guys, this is escalating. My other co-parent O just called me and said Zane, the advisor, is threatening legal action over my post. O is hysterical. I'm starting to think L, the one who left, might have had a point about this being a grifter situation. Also, I may have mischaracterized some of L's actions. I'm sorry, L, if you see this. Too late, Matt, too late. I needed to make a decision fast. Do I expose both of them in the comments of Matt's public Reddit thread, destroying their already tenuous professional reputations and letting everyone know about the $5,000 Matt lost? Or do I try to fix this mess so I can at least recover enough money to pay my $1,247 rent and get out of the shared lease for apartment 3B without losing the security deposit? I decided to try to call Matt back, but before my call connected, I got a notification on my phone screen. It wasn't a text, it wasn't a call, it was a notification from the joint account banking app. Warning, overdraft fee. I hadn't done anything to the account since Tuesday. It was supposed to have $347.01 in it. I clicked the app. The balance was now $30.88. My eyes scanned the transactions. The most recent transaction timed just 5 minutes ago. Withdrawal, $281.13. Label, MATTMACLEOD Airbnb deposit. He took the last of the operational money. He used the last remaining funds in the joint account, the funds I was counting on to cover the overdraft fee from my emergency flight to book himself an Airbnb. He dipped out of the shared motel room and abandoned Oliver, presumably to hide from Zane and me. I hung up the phone. I started laughing, a terrible, dry, hysterical sound. My body was shaking again, but this time it was from the shock of the sheer, brazen betrayal. Matt MacLeod, the strict parent, the spreadsheet worshiper, had just screwed me over one last time right after begging me to come back and help him deal with his own secret account drama. I knew exactly what I had to do, and it didn't involve getting back into that Corolla. I typed out a message to Matt's phone. It was simple. You have until 9 a.m. EST tomorrow to sell me $1,247 and delete that Reddit post. If not, I'm finding the lawyer and the accountant who handle the rental properties, and I'm sending them all the transaction history for the last 18 months, including the $5,000 crypto loss and the $281.13 Airbnb deposit. Parallel parenting is dead. Now we are entering the litigation phase. I didn't send it yet. I wanted to sit on the righteous rage for a few more minutes. But the worst part, the absolute worst part of all of this, the thing that makes me want to scream so loud the manager of this motel calls the police, is what I saw when I checked the Reddit post one last time just now. Matt's update on responsible adult 50M was deleted. The whole thread was gone. I refreshed. Nothing. Then I checked the hot tab on r/am I the asshole. There was a new post rocketing up the charts posted just moments ago. The title was, AITA for exposing my 58-year-old co-parent who is running from his responsibilities as a drama queen who never contributed anything but spreadsheets. The username was ZaneVibes24. And the post started with, you guys wanted the tea on that grifter situation? Well, buckle up. I'm the alleged spiritual advisor, Zane, and I have receipts. I was frozen staring at the screen. ZaneVibes24. The actual scammer had created a Reddit account specifically to post about our disaster. This wasn't some minor familial spat anymore. This was performance art on a national stage. I felt completely gutted but also weirdly validated. Like, yes, this situation is so insane even the GRIFter has to chime in. I clicked on Zane's post and honestly I wish I hadn't. It was exactly what Oliver warned me about. Zane started off by saying Matt was defaming a legitimate business opportunity, and then pivoted to Matt's history of financial instability. He didn't just mention the $5,000 secret crypto loss. He posted a screenshot of the initial transfer from the secret account complete with Matt's name partially visible, and the investment memo for the disastrous mining operation. TBH, it was incredibly detailed and humiliating. Then he went after me. Zane had clearly read Matt's first post because he specifically addressed the recovering perfectionist bit. He wrote something like, L is clearly the dead weight here. He's obsessed with his spreadsheets and rules, which is a classic sign of someone who is too scared to take risks and achieve true wealth. He's the reason the other two co-parents are stifled. He wants control, not success. In GL, the fact that he bilayed on a business trip over a $1,247 rent payment, which is nothing when you look at their portfolio, shows exactly where his priorities are. Drama over dollars. Drama over dollars. Me, I was the one trying to prevent the absolute hemorrhage of funds. The comments were brutal. Half of them were calling Zane a hero for exposing the hypocrisy, and the other half were saying, this whole group sounds toxic ESH. A few people were genuinely concerned about Oliver, saying he sounded like a vulnerable adult being exploited. I closed Reddit and shoved my phone under the pillow. I couldn't look at it anymore. I was shaking with fatigue and indignation. I had to focus on the immediate problem, surviving the next 48 hours. I called my best friend David at 1 a.m. PST. He works East Coast hours, so I knew he'd be up early, but I didn't care. Larry, what the hell is happening? My phone is blowing up with links to some insane Reddit thread, David answered, sounding absolutely livid on my behalf. I managed to choke out the details. The secret account, the crypto loss, Matt draining the last $281 for an Airbnb, and Zane's public execution. He drained the last $300 for an Airbnb, David roared. Larry, you're not overreacting. You know what you have to do. You need to send that litigation text right now, and then you need to get a lawyer. I can't afford a lawyer, David. I have $30 left in the joint account and I put my flight on my credit card, I said, feeling that familiar stress acne flare up again. I don't care, I'm fronting you the consultation fee. You need to protect your assets before those two clowns lose the entire portfolio trying to pay off Zane, he insisted. Text Matt, now do it before you lose the rage. So I did it. I pulled up the drafted text and without rereading it, I hit send. To Matt MacLeod 50M, you have until 9 a.m. EST tomorrow to sell me $1,247 and delete that Reddit post. If not, I'm finding the lawyer and the accountant who handle the rental properties, and I'm sending them all the transaction history for the last 18 months, including the $5,000 crypto loss and the $281.13 Airbnb deposit. Parallel parenting is dead. Now we are entering the litigation phase. I immediately blocked Matt and Oliver on Zelle, just in case they tried some pathetic $1 transfer to appease me. I also emailed myself a secure folder containing all the bank statements, screenshots of the Zane transfers, the overdraft notice, and the text from Oliver about the secret account. I was back in control. The recovering perfectionist was fully in planning mode now. The fallout of the text, fast forward 12 hours, I woke up Thursday morning in Albuquerque. My flight was at 11 a.m. I had 8 voicemails from Matt and 6 from Oliver. I had about 50 texts, all of them panicked. Matt's voicemails were truly something. Voicemail 1603 a.m. EST. Larry, are you serious? Litigation over $1,247. That's insane. We're partners. We had a system. Call me. Voicemail 4715 a.m. EST. The rent is due tomorrow. We can figure this out. Look, I'll pay your rent, okay? Just tell me you haven't talked to the lawyer yet. I need to know what you know about the secret account. See. He only cares about protecting his own butt. Voicemail 7845 a.m. EST. Larry, I tried to sell you the money, but your account is blocked. Just unblock me. I'm good for it. I'm going to pay it out of my personal checking account. I promise. Just stop with the threats. That Zane guy is a lunatic. Oliver's voicemails were just chaos. He was alternating between accusing Matt of betraying him and then begging me to intervene. Oliver voicemail 7:30 a.m. EST. Larry, please, Matt has completely abandoned me. He took the Corolla keys and left me at the motel. He said he's going to Phoenix to talk to his sister. I'm 76, Larry. I can't get an Uber out of this place. My heart sank a little for Oliver. He's delusional, yes, but he's also old and legitimately stranded now thanks to Matt's selfishness. I knew I couldn't physically go back for him, but I wasn't leaving him totally exposed either. I called the motel desk and prepaid for Oliver to stay another night, telling them he was awaiting assistance. I didn't leave my name. At 9:30 a.m., I got a frantic text from a new number. New number, LARYTHAS is MATT. I used Oliver's old phone to text you. Zane posted everything. My clients are asking questions. I saw the email you sent to our property accountant, Helen. You included the transaction logs. You actually did it. I smiled a little. I had sent the records to Helen, 55F, our mutual accountant, at 9:01 a.m. EST. Helen is a woman of pure spreadsheets and zero tolerance for fraud. She was my nuclear option and I had pulled the trigger. Me, Larry. I told you what would happen at 9 a.m. EST. The rent is due tomorrow. Where is the Zelle transfer? Matt, on Oliver's old phone. I'm working on it. I need to liquidate some funds. Give me until the end of the day, please, Larry. Helen just called me and she sounds like she wants to revoke my CPA license. Me, you had 12 hours. The price for the delay is now $500, $1,747 total. Pay it by 5 p.m. EST or I am contacting a lawyer and filing a complaint with the state. I felt a pang of guilt over extorting him, but honestly, after the Airbnb deposit and the secret account and the public shaming, he deserved to sweat a little. This wasn't about revenge, it was about protecting my future and securing the immediate funds I needed. I got on my flight at 11 a.m. For the first time in days, I felt a calm sort of terror. The world was still collapsing, but I was actively steering the debris. A week went by where nothing was normal. I landed back in NYC and went straight to David's apartment. He let me crash on his couch while I figured out the apartment 3B situation. I had paid the $1,247 rent for 3B by draining my personal emergency fund because Matt failed to pay by 5 p.m. But guess what? At 5:07 p.m. EST, he Zelled me exactly $1,747. I accepted the transfer. My personal emergency fund was now replenished and I had $500 extra. It felt dirty but necessary. The fallout was still everywhere. One, Helen the accountant, she was furious. She immediately froze the joint operational account, the one with $30 left, and insisted on an emergency audit of all the properties and transactions. She told me she was shocked by Matt's behavior and confirmed that the $5,000 crypto loss was indeed real and totally hidden from the property ledgers. She basically became my instant ally because she hates fraud more than she loves either of us. To Oliver, he was still stranded. Matt tried to blame me for abandoning Oliver, but I pointed out I paid for his room, and Matt was the one who left the Corolla keys. Matt finally had to fly back to Albuquerque to collect Oliver and the stinky Toyota. They drove home in silence. Matt later told me in a curt email, which I read only to confirm Oliver was safe. 3. The Reddit mess. Matt couldn't delete Zane's post obviously, but he spent 3 days trying to get his own post deleted, claiming his account was hacked. Nobody believed him. Zane's post went viral. The thread was finally locked by the mods for excessive personal detail and ongoing financial litigation concerns. So NGL, my life is now semi-Reddit famous. It's embarrassing. The hardest part was the lease for apartment 3B. I needed out. I had been dragging my feet on moving out of the place I shared with Matt because honestly the NYC housing market is terrifying and I'm 58 and change is hard. Matt had been dragging his feet too. By Tuesday, I was exhausted. I was living out of a duffel bag at David's, trying to work remotely while fielding calls from Helen about refinancing the Portland property, Oliver, and Matt had messed up the insurance details. I called Matt and asked him to meet me at a neutral location, a public park near the apartment, to discuss the lease. The first confrontation Tuesday afternoon, I showed up 10 minutes early, sitting on a concrete bench wearing a pair of sunglasses despite the cloudy weather because I didn't want him to see how tired I was. Matt showed up looking rumpled and defeated. He had bags under his eyes. Larry, thank you for agreeing to meet, he started, immediately trying to adopt a professional, measured tone. Cut the corporate jargon, Matt. We're not doing parallel parenting anymore. You demonstrated that you cannot be trusted with shared responsibility or basic honesty, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. I need you to sign the documents to release me from the 3B lease and assume full responsibility for the security deposit. He sighed dramatically. Larry, you know that's not feasible. The security deposit is $5,000. We agreed to split that if one of us moves out early. We need that money for the HVAC repair fund. HVAC repair fund is gone, Matt. Oliver spent it all on Zane's ultimate potential seminar. And besides, you spent the last remaining $281 on an Airbnb instead of an operational bill. The money for 3B rent, which I had to pay out of my personal account, was only returned to me because I forced your hand with a lawyer. I paused. And you know what? That $500 I extorted from you is my consulting fee for fixing your disaster. I earned that. He physically flinched at the word extorted. Look, I messed up, he admitted, looking at the ground. I panicked. I was trying to protect Oliver. He's old, Larry. He's susceptible. The crypto thing that was supposed to be a surprise for you, a way to show you I wasn't just the strict parent. I was trying to be proactive. You were trying to run a secret financial scheme with a 76-year-old man who thinks motivational TikTok is a business plan, I countered sharply. You gave him the pin, Matt. You enabled him to empty the joint account, and then when it blew up, you threw me under the bus on Reddit and then abandoned your partner in the middle of a desert motel. I looked him straight in the eyes. I trusted you. I relied on you to be the fiscally responsible partner. That betrayal hurt more than Oliver's delusion. You told me, it's just the last 4 digits of my old phone number, but don't tell Larry. Tears welled up in my eyes again and I hated myself for it. I quickly grabbed my sunglasses and put them back on. I am sorry, Larry, truly sorry, Matt whispered. But we have to save the properties. If we start litigation, Helen will insist we sell everything. We'll lose the investment value. We need to go back to parallel parenting just for the properties. We can separate everything else. I'll pay your security deposit. No, I said firmly. I stood up. Parallel parenting is over because the parents are hostile and financially abusive. I'm going full separation. I told Helen to start the dissolution process for the shared assets immediately. I want my 40% share of the equity from the 3 properties and I want out of everything joint. Matt looked terrified. Larry, that will take months, years, maybe we'll lose money. Then you should have thought about that before you gave Oliver the pin, I said, turning to walk away. I'm moving out of 3B this weekend. You can deal with the lease or you can deal with the eviction notice when I stop paying my portion next month. I walked away and I didn't look back. It was a huge, painful relief. The recovering perfectionist finally let go of the need for perfect structure and embraced the messy, necessary destruction. Logistical nightmare update weekend to end of next week. Moving out of 3B was a nightmare. I literally hired movers for Saturday morning and only told Matt I was going to be there at 9 a.m. to collect my things. I had spent Friday night securing a small studio apartment in an entirely different borough. It's tiny but it's mine. The rent is high NGL but it feels safe. Matt was there when I arrived looking miserable. He tried to help the movers but I politely and rigidly told him to stand aside. He just stood there watching me pack my life into boxes. At one point he picked up the Costco tub of trail mix I hadn't touched since the road trip and said, "You left this in the Corolla." "Keep it," I told him, closing the last box containing my spreadsheets and planning notebooks. "I don't need reminders of bad decisions." He actually cried a little. "Please don't do this, Larry. Don't let 15 years of friendship and partnership go up in smoke because of one bad week." "It wasn't one bad week, Matt," I corrected him. "It was years of me enabling your need to be the fun dad and giving Oliver too much rope, and years of me ignoring the fact that you, the supposed responsible one, were running secret schemes behind my back. That wasn't a mistake, that was betrayal. The road trip was just the spark that lit the whole dumpster fire." I took one last look around the apartment that smelled vaguely of him and the memory of my old life and I walked out. I didn't even leave a forwarding address. Oliver's redemption arc 3 days after moving, so I am in the shoebox apartment. It's Monday. I'm trying to set up my Wi-Fi, which is a stressful endeavor when you're already sleep-deprived and financially stressed. My phone rings, it's Oliver. I almost ignore it, but again, that gut feeling, I answer. "Larry, thank goodness." Oliver sounds sober and genuinely remorseful, which is a new tone for him. "What is it, Oliver? Did you try to invest in the air conditioning unit?" I asked dryly. "No, Larry, listen, I went to the police. I went to the Phoenix Police Department where Matt dropped me off before he flew back to New York," Oliver said. "I didn't tell them about the properties or the rent, I just told them about Zane. I told them he was exploiting the elderly and I showed them the $15,000 in transactions." My jaw dropped, this time for real. Oliver, the ambitious upstart who wanted to be a spiritual capitalist. He went to the actual authorities. "Why, Oliver, you were obsessed with Zane?" I asked, utterly confused. "I was," he admitted softly. "But then Matt took the Corolla, took the last of the money and left me completely stranded. Not just stranded, Larry, but humiliated. I spent Saturday night in the motel room looking at Zane's Reddit post and he called me elderly but surprisingly wealthy. He treated me like a mark, not a partner." Oliver paused. "I realized that Matt and Zane were the same. They both only saw my money. You were the only person who cared that I was standing in a parking lot outside Flagstaff arguing over gelato." I didn't know what to say. It was an incredibly vulnerable, honest admission from a man whose default setting is denial. "So what happened?" I asked. "The police took my statement. They said they couldn't guarantee anything because he runs everything online, but they took the receipts." And then Oliver took a shaky breath. "I called my daughter, my actual daughter who I haven't spoken to in 3 years because she told me Zane was a scam. She flew out here and she's taking me home. I'm done with the properties. I'm done with the road trips. I'm done trying to be a billionaire at 76. He continued, "I want to apologize, Larry. I am truly sorry I jeopardized your financial security and your sanity. I authorized the transfers. It was my fault. I will make it right." "How, Oliver? We're dissolving everything now," I said. "I know," Oliver replied, "but I have some liquid assets, my retirement savings. I want to pay you back the $15,000, not from the joint account but from my personal savings. I want to replace the HVAC fund and I want to cover your legal fees for dissolution. I won't pay Matt's, obviously. He abandoned me." I was stunned into silence. Oliver, the delusional, ambitious upstart, was stepping up and taking actual fiscal responsibility, while Matt, the strict parent, was still hiding behind excuses and trying to save face. It was the most shocking character development I've ever witnessed. "Oliver, you don't have to pay my legal fees," I started, feeling genuinely moved. "I insist. It's the only way I can prove I'm recovering," he said. "The new paradigm shift is called reparations for Larry. I need the money to materialize, right? Well, I'm making it materialize." I actually laughed, a real honest-to-God laugh. "Okay, Oliver, thank you. Just keep me in the loop about the police and Zane," I said. "Of course, Larry, and by the way," he added, "when I got the Corolla back from Matt, he had used my auxiliary cord to play NPR the entire way home." Parallel parenting, reimagined 3 weeks later. It's been 3 weeks since I moved into the shoebox apartment. My life is still a mess, but it's my mess. Helen is moving forward with the property dissolution. It's expensive and complicated. We've had to put the 2 rental properties on the market much earlier than planned, and Matt is fighting every single step of the way. He keeps sending me passive-aggressive emails about how I'm ruining the long-term investment strategy. I forward them all to Helen and my new lawyer, who is surprisingly affordable thanks to Oliver's generous and unexpected reimbursement. Oliver, true to his word, sent me a certified check for $15,000 from his private brokerage account. It cleared. That money is now sitting safely in a HYSA under my name, tagged for Future Life Fund. He also sent $2,500 to cover the anticipated legal fees. I am completely blown away by his turnaround. He calls me twice a week, mostly to complain about his daughter making him eat vegetables or to check if Zane has tried to sue us yet. Zane hasn't. He vanished from Reddit after his initial viral post, presumably because the Phoenix police actually started sniffing around. Matt is still trying to save face. He finally moved out of apartment 3B last Friday, but not before leaving me a cryptic note saying he expects me to return the $500 extortion fee once the properties sell. LOL, not happening, Matt. We still have to communicate because of the ongoing property sales, but it is strictly transactional. We use a shared encrypted document for asset information, and all emails are copied to Helen and our respective lawyers. The ironic thing is we ended up with a form of parallel parenting, just not the touchy-feely corporate jargon version Matt envisioned. We operate in completely separate spheres, occasionally intersecting only when mandated by legal necessity. We don't talk about anything personal. We certainly don't share bank accounts. The trust is completely gone, and honestly the anger is mostly gone too. It's been replaced by a quiet, deep disappointment. Reflection and moving forward, I still look at spreadsheets, NGL. That's just who I am. But now they only track my money, not Oliver's delusional investments and certainly not Matt's sneaky schemes. My friend David was right. I was overreacting to the $1,247 rent payment because it symbolized the complete collapse of my carefully structured world. I wasn't just losing money, I was losing control, and the betrayal from Matt made me feel like I had wasted years of my life trying to keep things running smoothly for people who didn't respect my efforts. I realize I allowed the recovering perfectionist label to become an excuse for avoiding difficult conversations and ignoring red flags. I saw Oliver was a risk and Matt was an enabler, but I kept managing the spreadsheets, thinking that if I just planned hard enough, the chaos wouldn't touch me. The road trip forced me to face the fact that chaos always wins when you ignore reality. I still have bad days. Yesterday, I saw a Toyota Corolla that looked just like Oliver's beat-up car, and I almost had a panic attack in the middle of the street. I still stress-eat Chipotle. My credit card bill for the emergency flight is now paid off, thankfully. But yesterday, I found a new coffee shop near my shoebox apartment. It was quiet. I sat there for an hour, planning my budget for the next 6 months, and I didn't feel stressed, just focused. I was planning for me. Oliver is doing well, getting therapy and actually starting to listen to medical advice instead of Zane. He apologized to his daughter and is finally embracing retirement. He even sent me a text asking if I wanted to visit him in Florida next winter. I told him maybe. Matt is still mad. He's going to lose money on the property sales because he was the one demanding an urgent dissolution. He deserves it. I'm focusing on my percentage and moving on. I learned that sometimes you have to be the control freak, not the recovering one, especially when you're dealing with financial criminals. And sometimes the most rigid, structured person is the one capable of the biggest, most shocking betrayal. I'm sleeping in my own bed now. It's a cheap mattress, but it's peaceful. The biggest win of the last 3 weeks wasn't the $15,000 Oliver returned. It was changing the Netflix password and not hearing the Corolla start every morning. That and finally getting my name off the lease. Anyway, that's the update. I am out of the road trip from hell, I am out of the bad lease, and I am out of the toxic partnership. We'll update if Matt attempts to pay me back the $500 in expired Trader Joe's gift cards. TBH, that's exactly the kind of petty move I expect from him now.